Hey, my name is Sean Cavan, and today I'm at the Lake Jackson Indian Mounds Archeological State Park, and I'm here with
Mary Katherine K, Americorp Park Ranger.
And today we're going to be discussing some really interesting topic.
Down to Florida, we welcome you to the Sunshine State. They're kicking back and soaking up the rays every day in Florida.
So, Mary, what do you do here?
I'm an Americorp Park Ranger, meaning that I am an 11th month term service member. I work for the federal government at state parks, and what I do is I come out here and I help treat invasive species which damage the cultural and natural resources specific to North Florida and this archaeological site.
Can you tell us about those species and those the flora and the fauna here? Is there anything special about this park in particular?
Yeah, so we are one of the last few slope forests and one of the last few magnolia and beech tree forests, not only just in the state but in the country. We have some of the rare cultural plants specific to Native Americans in this region, one of them being Trillium, and what it does is it helps prevent bugs and plants and other animals that grow around it from freezing in the winter. It has a special chemical compound in it that keeps animals and other plants from freezing. So all the unique bugs, insects, lizards, reptiles, all of those things. In addition to that, it also helps prevent cancer because the Native Americans used to make it into a salve, which they would place on their skin if they had a skin cancer mark, and it would treat the skin cancer. It's basically like taking chemo today. And it was also used as a form of birth control and to abort fetuses if it was a bad pregnancy. In addition to that, we have a plant called switch cane, which Native Americans used to make the blow darts out of that are specific to this region. In addition to that, I help do outreach about these plants and the prominent invasive ones, which really damage these special and sensitive environments.
So, speaking of the Native Americans, we're on top of the largest mound here, right?
Yes, it is an 84-foot mound. It is the largest in Florida. But in Miccosukee, or off the Miccosukee Lake, over in Monticello, there is the Lutch Love Park, which has upwards in the hundreds, but they are not documented due to cultural loss, meaning someone came in and destroyed the mounds, used it for ground filler, so we are not 100% sure how many specific mounds were there.
So this used to be a site, a little township of the Native Americans that lived here?
Yes, so this would have been a reoccurring township, meaning that they came back to it through specific parts of the year for ceremonial purposes. On the largest mound would have been the ceremonial house, where all of the religious ritual purposes would have happened. And interesting enough, every year they would burn it down and build a new one, or depending on when a religious person died. Because there are two different cultures in this region, dating back from a few thousand years difference. And then there were smaller mounds around with the people's homes on it. So the travelers that came with them, not the religious people. The biggest mound was saved for the religious site, and if you dig into the dirt, you can see the distinct clay layers from every year and every type of clay that they used to build up this mound.
So this project is about revitalizing these parks and making them more interesting and accessible to the younger generations. Can you give me any reasons why this park in particular would be interesting or important to bring young children or even adults willing to learn about the history of this park?
Yeah, it's a great open place that is great for families and school groups to come out to, just because it's so big and has a huge greenery area to just hang out in. And we have recreational use pavilions down there and grills, so it can be fun while you are out here. And there is the stream, and I've seen homeschool groups bring kids out and they're all playing in the stream and having a great time. It's important because this is one of the rarest sites, so it can connect with students that have an interest in ecological preservation, or that may not know about it and just want to come out and look and see, because we do have placards telling you about specific plants. And it's an important historical site because it was a part of the Appalachian Native American group, and we have some of the resources from when the Spanish came, but we do not have necessarily as many resources as before pre-Columbian time, and this is one of those sites.
So this is a project, again, about revitalization. Can you give any information about the way that the park is funded, or how the state works with that?
Yeah, so within the state, we are in the Department of Environmental Protection. All of the state parks fall under that. Within that, you have the Florida Conservation Corps, which does specific conservation efforts in the land. So the Parks Department is solely self-sufficient. It is one of the, if not the, biggest grossing departments for the state of Florida, meaning that we do not only self-fund. All of our funds come from donations entering the park, activities like if you do a boat rental at a park, but we also give money to other state departments. So a lot of the tax burden actually is decreased due to the state parks and how many we have and how many people visit them, because ecotourism is now becoming known, but it's always been there. So there's a lot of people when they go to Disney, it's too busy, it's too crowded. They go to Tampa to see a show, whatever that is, and then they go, oh, there's a park nearby, let's go. That brings in funds. So it's just something that's always there. You have native tourists, you have tourists that come from all across the country, across the world, just to view these specific parks.
Well, thank you for this. Do you have anything else you would like to add in addition for the viewers?
Yeah, go ahead and message your Congress people, congressmen and women, just to remind them to protect our parks, because a lot of them are interested in selling them off or giving them off or the resources to private businesses. And, even though that's good for private businesses, if you put that much effort back into the parks, they can bring in that much more business. So yeah, go write them, encourage them to protect state parks, encourage them to give us more funding so we can, keep everything nice and new, build new bridges, ramps, and do more outreach programs for the community.
Well, thank you. Have a nice day.